we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the Italian Grand Prix. We return to Monza, the temple of speed. The loyal tifosi are gathering in hopes of a homecoming victory, but everyone here is united to watch Formula One cars roar around the lowest downforce circuit on the calendar. At Monza, the aim is clear. Pure acceleration is what the track demands, and every F1 driver is only too happy to submit. Cars that struggle for downforce elsewhere can really come into their own around this gem of a circuit. Williams are going through a tough period, with the board keeping a close eye on the team's performance.
Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager 23, episode 87. For the first time in her career, Flourish has cracked the top 8, first 4 rows on the grid. At least I think so. She's made FP3, to my knowledge, once or twice before, but it was always like 10th. It was always just making FP3. So 8th place is a huge, huge deal for Flourish. Somehow Tanaka, though, was still last by a couple tenths compared to everybody else, where Flourish was consistently more than half a second faster. Proposed strategy for the race, of course, aggressive off the line like always, but no underfueling today. I want the opportunity to overtake. Actually, I will underfuel, but only for Tanaka. For Tanaka, we're going with the conservative medium hard because, you know, she's off low on tires. We got to a 97% car setup. She still qualified last. Flourish, though, with that 8th place qualifying on an 87% setup. We're going to be bold. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to try to give her pace so she does not go backwards. Put her on the sauce, then to the mediums, and hope that she can hold on. Those last couple of laps are going to be the worrying ones, which means we've got to try to ease off. And she is good on tires. We tend to make her better than others in the grid. So if I can, we're going to get that few extra percentage points out of her so that she can make these compounds work and have the pace in the tires, have the fuel to make a push, but that involves being aggressive. So we'll see how it goes. If anything, we could go for a soft to hard strategy instead of a medium hard strategy. If the tires just don't make it. If we got to pit, we're going to pit.
All 10 teams are now getting set up as the drivers prepare to face the 53 laps of the Italian Grand Prix. The Williams driver, their attention purely on the race now.
An encouraging grid position as they sit in P8. Lots to build on during the race if they manage it well.
So let's see what today has in store, shall we? Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Okay, we are racing. Tanaka, of course, right at the back, but Flourish off the line, a little slow. She's down to P9 at the moment, but turn 1 is everything here. She's got the track to herself at least. She's okay so far. She's okay so far. Looking around us, softs. Ocon on the mediums. Like, how did you go backwards? Well, I guess signs is how we went backwards, right? Only 3 cars on the mediums. Everybody else is going to make those softs work. Means tactically today, the last couple laps of the stint could be very, very important. Long straights means we can get up to that top speed. Overtakes can be possible on a day such as this. The big key, though, is keeping that spacing, keeping that DRS, and we are a little slow compared to signs ahead of us. So we will keep right on pushing for now. Tanaka is also on the verge of getting out of DRS range, which kind of the last thing we need her to be having. She clearly just doesn't have the pace. We couldn't put her on the softs. It's just, She's a mess right now. Flourish just coming around. We still need to keep that push going longer. Battery's empty. Gotta back off there, but we gotta keep right on pushing otherwise. There we go. Okay. Tires are the important one right now, so flourish. That's plenty close. Tanaka at 1.4 has got to keep pushing. I think her whole race depends on getting back into DRS range here soon. We'll see if she can do it. Give her at least one more lap of push. Leclerc is already 2 seconds out of DRS range, so the top 5 are pulling away. I don't mind. All I need is a group of cars right in front of me that I can keep up with and see those behind me fall off. Like Russell, struggling to keep up. If we can get him out of DRS range, top 10 can pull away, and we could be in the second group on the road, cruising our way towards points, right? That's, that's the theory, anyway. Russell has momentarily fallen out of DRS. Ocon's all over the back of us. Close it up again. Pace is an issue. Tanaka's 2 seconds down. She's fallen back anyway, even with the push. So much for that idea. Russell, 1.1 down. And now 0.9. And he's got a flap open. So he's somehow squeezed back in. Ocon's all over the back of us in the Red Bull, right? Clearly the second quickest car and a very, very strong driver. So the key to beating Russell is going to be to inch forward, but now we can't. In fact, we are going backwards. Ocon's been much too fast and is challenging here and gets the overtake done. I don't think there's much I can do about trying to defend that one. Down to 10th. Drugovich is out of DRS range, so we're now looking at a battle of 6 to 12. Side by side with the Ferrari. We're going to drop out of the Ferraris are outside of the points. Like, the team that's, what, second in the championship? Not good for us. Wait, we're in 9th. We followed Ocon through. That was a Ferrari going backwards. That was an overtake of Leclerc. We lost 2 positions on that straight. Ocon is going... Leclerc is going backwards. Can we get him out of DRS range? Nine tenths. Not quite. Not quite, but we're going to make a little push to close up on Ocon. Leclerc is more than a second down right now. Did Leclerc have a DRS? It sure looks like he did. Even though he was clearly more than 1.1 seconds down. Had no reason to have DRS, and had DRS anyway. That's happening way too much in F1 Manager 23. Way too much. Cars outside of DRS range get it anyway. And then there's been plenty of times where I've had 0.9 and didn't get DRS and then dropped out of the zone. But way too often. Cars that are clearly outside of 1 second. 1.1, 1.2 down as they cross the line. Like, not even very close. Definitely not out of range this time. It is over a second now, but that's through the zone. There. More than a second. Everywhere through this. Flap stays closed. Flap stays closed. And then look, Leclerc gains half a second. Right? How? They're just like slingshotting each other forward. There you go. 1.6. That's got to be far enough down now, right? Top 9 pulling away. Flourish. Okay. Ease off. Job done. Ease off. Save those tires. Or don't. Make an overtake. Go forward. Up to 8th place. We've overtaken Albon. The AlphaTauri. Aston Martin right at the back. Tanaka's 5 seconds down, by the way. Going light for a couple of corners. Just trying to eke out a little performance. Okay, back to normal. How we looking on that part? 55%, looking pretty good. Most everybody's worse off than we are. Most. Not all, but most. In fact, it's not much better than halfway there. We're only 5 seconds down on the lead of the race. I'm glad that we've given ourselves the option to push, because that has worked out pretty dang well for us so far. Close enough to get DRS. Please get a good run from it. Now we're losing ground. Push again. Come on. Just does not have that pace without the push. But we are gaining the track position. But somehow those guys are still... It's Ferrari, right? Their natural pace apparently is better than Ocon's. Better than Porsche's now. I just fell out of DRS range. Just fell out of DRS range, and Albon slingshots us. Conserve. Gotta get some of this fuel back. We are going way too deep with this. Normal. Close back up on him. Albon just set the fastest lap of the race. And we're out of DRS range. Like, why? Why can't we keep up? I drop below 50% and suddenly I'm slow as molasses. We lost Porsche, we lost Albon. Bang, bang. Leclerc's in range. That all happened in just a couple of laps. Being below 50%, we suddenly do not have race pace. First pit stop's coming. These guys are going early. Those on the softs. What are they going to come out on? Norris, Porsche, Leclerc pit. Are they going to go for a two-stopper? If they come out on mediums, they have to. It's the hards. It's the hards. They're going to take the hards to the end. We're going to try to make the mediums work, which are going to have better pace, but they are going to undercut in the next little bit. And we seem to be going pretty dang slow right now. Like, there's a lot of time being lost. 0.2 a lap difference. But a lot of extra life. And stops this terrible timing that we're on right now. If I had another set of softs, I'd think about a two-stopper. It's clear the pace is so bad right now. If I'm losing a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap, I get 6 more laps to go until we're supposed to pit. That's 12 seconds. It's 12 seconds right there. We're going to go to the hards. We're going to pit this lap. I mean, Zhou was nowhere. Zhou was absolutely nowhere compared to us. He's ahead of us now. I was ahead of Albin. I was right behind Sainz. We've lost 5 seconds. We have lost 5 seconds in 2, maybe 3 laps. We cannot afford to do that for 6 more laps. So into the pits. With traffic. With traffic. Flourish, come on. You can do this. You can do this. Let's go. 2-4-5-4, and we do. We get back ahead. We are back ahead. Multiple cars have crashed.
There's been a crash.
Is it going to be local
Now
yellows?
this was at turn 1. Now there's an inviting opportunity there. Oh, that's quite an impact
Yeah,
between
AlphaTauri
them.
up the
Now,
inside
their
of the
confidence
McLaren.
will have
He's
taken a
easily
hit with
alongside
that.
him, but the McLaren turns in on him. So 16th. Just 7 seconds behind Tanaka. We've been overtaken. Hadjar was the other one. No penalty given. Magnussen. I guess penalty enough for getting knocked off course. 5 more cars in the pits. And you can see Tanaka without any push, without traffic, still struggling to make a one-stopper work. But backing off is not something we can do for long. But we recovered, what, 3/10? Tanaka's probably the last one out there. Is the last one out there. And Magnussen, actually. Maloney runs wide. Okay, that's made it. This should make it. So I think Tanaka has managed to make this one-stopper function. Magnussen into the pits. Tanaka doing 1 lap longer than them. And with a little more life, you know, it keeps her in the race. Flourish at 92% is definitely not bad off compared to others. And everybody's gone to the hards. So this alternate strategy, that soft medium thing, was too much. It was asking too much of those softs. But the hards is what everybody else is doing. So Flourish is looking pretty good for that. But she is ultimately in 10th with work to do. There's Tanaka in the pits. There you go. Flourish up to 10th. Flourish already gone by. And Tanaka for her stop. 2-2-7-2. Oh, love it. Love to see it. That's a very good stop. And she is not last place. She's ahead of Magnussen. She's 19th. And not far behind Sargent and Hadjar. I think she's closer than she was. She is. 3.8 down. Not too shabby. Flourish. All over the back of Zhou, but Zhou 4.5 seconds, right? Can't afford to have the Ferraris flying by, but if we get to the head of this thing, all of a sudden, you know, we're in trouble. You're gonna go right on by? Of course he does. Such is our tempo. Such is our pace. Enough to, through 10 attempts, beat Zhou. But enough so that in 1 attempt, he's got me covered. And right back by. Oh, we're going to swap back and forth? No. Nope, we're just going to give up the spot to the Ferrari, aren't we? Pull back ahead, come on. Ah, no, that's it. Ferrari's passed. Ferrari's going to burst on by. That's the time where we need to pass Zhou, and we need to follow Leclerc as Leclerc goes back forward. I don't know why Leclerc went backwards so rapidly during that first stint. What was wrong with him to be in that scenario? By the way, the Tifosi, they got to be sad right now. 10th place is all they've got. 1 car in the points, and barely. I remember when Ferrari was like that. Do you remember when Ferrari was like that? After a certain fuel line issue, suddenly had them massively off the pace. Time to start moving forward. Guess who's overtaking? Yeah, being third in this line is not a good position to be in right now. Wow, that's amazing how much worse that got. How fast it gets bad. Like the fuel swings one way or the other very, very quickly here. Amazing that this is 11th. That's first. Look how spread out the back of the field is. Speaking of spread out, Drugovich is 10.5 seconds down. So top 12, barring any mistakes, any wrecks, anything like that from anyone, top 12 is certainly assured at this point. But our group is 5 seconds behind the next group. I think Leclerc can lead this group forward, but Zhou's the challenge, right? Oh, come on. That's how vulnerable things are, because look who's all over us now. It's Russell. Find ourselves in 4th very quickly. I don't think it would be that hard to move forward, though, as things stand. And here we go up the inside on Leclerc. Back towards that 2nd position, and we've got it. Yeah, the swap is real. The pace is whoever's at the front of this thing. Big gap behind, but gap ahead is definitely forming. I think we could easily put ourselves in position to get that P9 at the end, which means we've got to do a couple things. 1, we've got to conserve a little life. 2, we've got to build ourselves a full battery at some point. And 3, we've got to get some fuel reserve. So, conserve it is. I don't need to overtake Zhou. I don't need to lead this group forward. And I think it's okay if I drop down the order. It's not that hard to go forward. Tanaka still beating Magnussen. Magnussen's probably carrying some damage. Doesn't seem to be closing up, and Tanaka is starting to fall off from Piastri and Hadjar. At least by, 2 seconds? Over a number of laps. So she's not rapidly off the pace, but she's off the pace. And right now we are doing some wonderful fuel saving, but we push ahead, so let's go normal. We don't want to slow the group up. Ooh, could we be just behind here? Oh, come on. Seriously? We were from this chicane all the way down this straight, all the way around the formerly named Parabolica. Like, that whole time we were half car length behind. Whole time. There was never a single point in there where we were ahead. Not one. Yet, who gets the flap open? Yeah, Zhou's the one that's got to push and set tempo and fend off from us. Multiple cars have crashed. We have a yellow in sector 1.
Oh dear, a crash. There's been a crash.
I think it's behind us where it occurred. Yeah, it's turn 1. Austin AlphaTauri, Piastri. So back to the grid, not far ahead of Tanaka where this occurred. Just minor damage. Seem to have lost some tempo. So let's push on and close up. Can't afford to lose the DRS here. For one thing, we're fighting for a couple points. But the fuel recovery has been going just fine, right? We were down to 0.5, now back up to 0.6, but we're struggling to keep up all of a sudden. It's not the tires. It's not the temperature. There you go, back up there. It's the consistency part. Tanaka, it's all over the place, but for Florsch, occasionally she just throws in a bad lap, and that was it. That was a bad lap. Lap 38 of 53. All we need to do is be exactly in the position we're in right now. Behind. Well behind the detection zone. We pull ahead there, and we're going to go through. We're in front. Not the position I want to be in. Balanced, 0.3. Okay, we were side by side there for a moment. We tuck back in, lose some ground. We need to close that back up. Drugovich and Co. is further back at 11.5. Tanaka has overtaken Hadjar and Piastri. Nice. She's still light, though. We have got to do some fuel saving with her, but she caught up to them and overtook them. Piastri at 51%. 55 for Porsche, 57 for Albin. I mean, look how close Leclerc is, right? This is not that Russell was fast. This was 100% a case of us being slow. And we're 1.7 down. We're now fighting for 10th place, folks. We are now fighting for 10th. The fight for 9th was gone in one awful lap from Flourish. And you can see just how quickly, as I back off, how quickly Zhou goes by. What happened? We dropped below 60%. Same thing that happened when we were on the softs. Exact same thing that happened when we dropped below 50%. She just suddenly was massively slower compared to those around her. And the same thing has happened here. They're in the same state we are, but their pace is not dropping. Her pace is. 45 of 53. Tanaka is still leading from that group, but I don't know how to get her recovered. Is she... No, she's nowhere near a lap down, so we've got to get her to recover. Yellow flag, multiple cars have crashed.
And oh dear, that's Max Verstappen.
Verstappen. This is happening at the front. This is happening at the front with the Mercedes. The Ocon, McLaren, Alpine, McLaren. Oh yeah, that sounds like Max. It's Norris. That was the front four. Let's hope that one of them is going to be well off the pace now. Down to 0.1 here. Penalty possibly? No penalty. No penalty given. Damn. We are in the green. We are in the green. And Flourish is suddenly looking slow again here, all of a sudden. Russell just 1.5 behind Sainz and Pourchaire now. Clearly nobody ahead of them is in it unless you get one of those two guys going backwards because they are suddenly off pace. Look at how quick Norris is losing ground. Norris is losing ground pretty rapidly. He's lost 3 seconds for one thing, but we've seen him lose a second in about half a lap, which means Norris could be going backwards. What about tire wear? No, they both came out of that okay. This thing is intense. Hadjar is back up on Tanaka. She's lost 2 seconds. Going light. No. Down to third in the group. Job just got harder. That's 12th right now. That is 12th place right now. On lap 50. 12th place on lap 50. This is... Fuel situation is... or battery situation is definitely better. Don't. Flourish, don't you dare. Look, she's suddenly slow. Suddenly slow again. Here we go. Now it's 9/10. Like, I see what's happening. I see what she's doing. And I'm not able to stop it. It's just she just suddenly lacks all things pace related. This is that third lap where she's managed to do this. One lost us Russell for sure. This one is losing us any overtaking ability. Leclerc's gone on by. Leclerc's into the points. Russell and Leclerc are both in the points now from both out of the points, and it's at Zhou and my expense. Only got 22%. We have not saved that much battery, and it's lap 52 of 53. We've got 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. How the heck are we going to get through like that? There's one of the positions. There's one of the positions. Back into 11th. And Russell and Pourchaire and Sainz, like, they're all right there too. Yellow flag. There's a crash. There is a crash.
There's been a crash.
2 Aston Martins and an Alfa Romeo. It's Gasly in the Aston Martin. This is at the back of the grid. Will this help Tanaka go forward? Okay. Hadjar's ahead of us. We're 3.5 seconds ahead of Magnussen. Piastri is down to last. This has all happened in that territory. Gasly, Maloney, Sargent, 14, 15, 16. So no gain for us. But we're just behind Zhou now, so 10th place is back in the cards. We are already on that push. We're coming up on that 1 lap to go. I'm going to save it for the second DRS zone because we just do not have much to push. So standard for the moment. What about Leclerc? Serve. Okay, there you go. There we go. That's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. Okay, now go aggressive, close it back down. 2/10. Chicane, 2 right-handers. Push. Closing up, closing up, closing up. One more right-hander. We will deploy as we exit. Go. Attack. Little extra help. High. Going up the outside. We are ahead. We are ahead. Neutral. Okay, we just need to get back. Need to get back.
And it's a win today for Lance Stroll.
Stroll has won. Final corner. Final corner. We do not have the fuel. Do not have the fuel. Whew. We finished. We're going to roll to a stop. 10th place. We did it. Tanaka is still at minus 0.2. Tanaka's not going to make it. Tanaka's not going to make it. We're ahead of Hadjar, but we are not going to make it. On fuel. She is going to run out. Conservative. There you go. She has run out of fuel. Tanaka had 17th, but she comes up short. I did not stop her in time. I got her down to 0.1, but she is going to finish last instead of 17th. I started fuel saving too late for her, but Flourish got a point. All that. And it's just 1 point, but it is a point. 7th was right there. Like, we're two and a quarter seconds from 7th place. And we were right there
really
all race long. And that's an important point for us.
An outstanding.
Very, very hard fought point. Wonderful decision to switch from a soft medium strategy to a soft hard strategy. It turns out that the entire grid, outside of 3 cars went for that strategy, and the other 3 went for a medium hard, which included Tanaka. Sucks that she ran out of fuel on the final corner that close to the finish line. Like, definitely my bad, but I was so locked in on what was going on with Flourish that I let it go too long, and her coming out of nowhere to catch up to those 2 guys. There was other ways to deal with it, but she was actually in a battle herself and ran 17th. Well, in our minds, right? Count that as a 17th for her. She beat some cars, and Flourish got a point. It's only 1, but she got a point. Second time this season in the points. She now has 9 on the year, just 2 behind Maloney. She's ahead of a McLaren in K-Mag. Why? Because he's an 81 overall, right? He's in a car that's much, much quicker, but he's an 81 overall. That Stroll's a 92. Like, how is this guy ever going to be a 92? Like, that's never going to happen in real life. He's not going to be that good. He's very much plateaued as it is right now. And he's not a bad driver. 81 sounds about right. Never going to be a 92. But Gasly at 4, 88 overall. Dragovic in 85, Sargent in 88. Like, look what you have at the back. All of the non-90s are at the back. Piastri, Hadjar, and Albon. And there's 10 drivers that are 90 plus, and they're ranked 1 through 10. That says a lot. Zhou in an Alfa Romeo. That's who we were just battling, a 91 overall. No wonder we had a hard time keeping up with him. Maloney's only got 2 points more than Flourish. We've got a better car that offsets his 89, but the difference is Zhou with a 91. That 2 more points making a huge difference. Or at least that's how I'm seeing it. But in that Constructors, the magical 1 point, 10 behind Haas, 4 ahead of Aston Martin. Could we still beat Haas? I don't know. That's a big ask with 8 races to go. We are almost 2/3 of the way through the season. Definitely not not doing anything with AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. Like, we're not going to get to 7th, but could we get 8th? That would look a hell of a lot better than the 9th we have right now, but it is what it is. 1st and 3rd today. Closing that gap back up. Alright, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.